Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Angelisa, and on this channel we talk about books. And today my background, it's definitely still my bookshelf, but it has been rearranged a little bit, and partially is because I wanted to do this video. So if you've been watching my channel, I've been uploading videos for about 9 months, and I've definitely dipped into the fantasy genre a lot more. Now, I do have a lot of fantasy books that I haven't read yet, but like have been on my TBR for so long, and I bought them because I really want to read them. But then I also have fantasy books that I have read and I can give you my thoughts on. But today we're gonna basically be going through my entire fantasy book collection, and you can see how many of them are on my physical TBR. This is basically like a mini version of my entire bookshelf tour. So I moved almost all of my fantasy books to these like 4 shelves. I didn't realize how many I had and how many I was storing on that shelf above my desk. So I've moved all of my contemporary romances and like kind of literary fiction out there, but I really liked how the fantasy looked here, and with fall I just wanted my bookshelf to feel more like fall vibes, so that's what I ended up deciding to do. But today we're gonna go through all of the fantasy books that I own, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. I'll kind of just quickly go over how I organized it. We're gonna start like at the very top, and I'll like pull books down to show you guys. So in this corner I have a few Olivia Blake books. So first of all, the top shelf are all hardcover, and then there's some like random like paperbacks hiding behind these, but yeah, this is all like hardcover fantasy except for the Twilight Saga because I didn't want to move that. And then I have paperback fantasy, Sarah J. Maas, and then more paperback fantasy. But anyway, just to start with, I'm gonna come up here. Just to start with Olivia Blake, I have Masters of Death, which is kind of like a new re-release where they came out with new covers. I also have One for My Enemy, as well as the Atlas 6 and the Atlas Paradox. So I haven't read any of these, and let me start with like, I only had these 2 originally, and then I saw these 2 come out recently, and I loved the freaking covers, and the synopses sounded really fun for fall. So one of them actually is probably going to be on my TBR next month. And I was going to read the Atlas 6 I think a month or 2 ago. So I have tried to read these, but I'm thinking I might just do a video where like I try Olivia Blake's books, because I have a few of them now that I haven't read any, and I've just heard such amazing things about her writing, and yeah, I just really want to get into her. So Olivia Blake is the beginning of this fantasy collection. Next we have Legendborn and Bloodmarked. So these are book outlet purchases actually. You can see like the mark there, but they're very kind of like thick hardcover. They're over 500 pages, and I wanted to read more books by like people of color and like just that kind of like story and main characters. So that's why I picked these up, and I just haven't really gotten around to them. They're not at the top of my like fantasy wanna read list, but the synopses are just so interesting, and yeah, there's just so many different like politics in these books, and I've just heard great things about them. So I really want to give it a try, and we will see what comes of it. Is this a sequel? Like, which one is... Trying to figure out which one comes first, sorry. Yeah, Legendborn's first. Next on this shelf, we have Stephen King's Fairy Tale. Now, this ended up on my fantasy shelf because honestly, the size of this book, and I feel like I read that it was a fantasy. Yeah, it's a spellbinding novel. But I feel like with a title like Fairy Tale, it just is. But I don't know. All right, next we have, and I'm not gonna take them on the off the shelf because there's so many. But this is New Moon, but the Twilight Saga. So these aren't hardback, but they're just up there. But this is I feel like every young reader's first fantasy series that they ever purchased, if you want to call it fantasy, because really it's just vampires. But yeah, I don't need to say much about this. This is a very popular series. Another one we have is Blood Like Magic. So this is another like YA fantasy, and this actually has to do with witchcraft, which is really interesting. So I don't know, I might actually pick this up this fall because, you know, it's witchy season. We'll see. I literally forgot that this was on my shelf for a while because these are all like up here. So this is another one that isn't a hardback, but it's just up here because it's a really big book and it's the Zodiac Academy. So I got really excited about this book when I heard about it, and now all the reviews have been so bad that I just haven't picked it up, and I don't know if I'm going to. So we're gonna see. I might one day if I'm feeling bored or just feel like it. Maybe I'll just read like the first few pages and see if it like is catching my interest, but I've just heard really weird reviews about this, so I'm not sure. Next we have a fantasy book that's actually kind of interesting. It's called The Book of Living Secrets, and it's very similar to, I think, the Hazelwood, wherein that these characters find themselves stuck in their favorite book, basically, and they're thinking that they're going to be in this book, and it's a nice like romance plot, and it doesn't end up being that way, so they're stuck in this world that's a little bit like screwed up compared to what they thought it was going to be. It's, I don't know, it sounded very interesting, and it's what made me discover the Hazelwood, which is like a more popular version of this, where it's like a character stuck in a book, which just seems interesting to me. But yeah, I don't know, another like spooky kind of fantasy idea. All right, and then we have another fantasy kind of romance, Anatomy and Immortality. It's like a duology. Some fantasy books, I can admit, I bought for the covers. Look at this, like, so gorgeous, like so pretty. And it's like a million genres, like fantasy, paranormal, witchcraft, mystery, thriller, romance, historical fiction. Like there's so many different genre tags, but there is like witchcraft in this, which is really fun. And yeah, so I'm really excited about this. I've been wanting to read this for a while. There's literally a bookmark in this book because I planned to read it for so long, but I just never kind of got around to it. But oh my gosh, I never knew that the cover was, stop, I've never looked at this one. Oh my god! That is so pretty! Stop! I want to take the dust jackets off. Oh my goodness. That's so pretty. Okay, sorry, I need to move on, but wow. See, fantasy books. I don't really look at like the cover under the dust jackets much, so I probably should do that more often when I get hardcovers. So next we have another series that I bought literally strictly for the covers, and I haven't read it yet. Oh my god, this is just books full of books that I have not read. But I feel like once I show you, you'll understand. Like when I got the first one, I was just like, knowing that this one is out there, I can't. And then I ended up getting the third one, because I can't like have the first two books in a series, like in a trilogy, not have the third. I know. Let's just move on. This is any Hoover. Then we have Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, which I have read and loved. Now, I was very disappointed when I got this in the mail because it was not the frosted edges version. And then they released the picture of like what the second one's gonna look like, and they said it's just blacked out edges. So I'm like, so they're not even gonna do the dragon thing anymore, which is disappointing. So I don't know, I was thinking of maybe, possibly, perhaps seeing if I can like spray these myself, possibly. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe I can do it. I don't know. Maybe. I can always buy another copy if it goes really wrong, because like it's just a regular copy, but yeah, we're gonna see if maybe I feel like doing that. Okay, and then we have Kingdom of the Wicked, which I also haven't read. I swear to god, we're gonna start talking about books that I have read soon, I promise. But also haven't read this trilogy at all. I've heard amazing things about it and I've heard really bad things about it. I think it just really depends on what your taste is. I do enjoy witchcraft, which I'm pretty sure... Witches, yeah. Okay, so there is witches, which is fun. And I'm pretty sure I was going to put this on my October TBR just to get in like the October-y mood, you know? So yeah, we are going to start this trilogy soon. I want to commit myself to it. I might end up just finishing the whole thing if I really like it. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, moving on. We're at the first paperback shelf. Oh, these can go up here. They are like just sitting here because I don't have anywhere to put them, but not part of the video. Anyway, we're gonna start over here. So I have the first book of From Blood and Ash. You guys are gonna be so proud. I didn't buy all of them. I only bought the first one. Part of the reason was because I couldn't figure out which one was the first one for like the longest time because all the books look the same, and I found out there's actually 2 series in this like world that intertwine, and like literally you have to tandem read at some point. Not tandem read, but like go back and forth at some point. So I don't know if I want to get myself into that. I think that's why I bought it, and I just haven't like read it. I was really excited when I bought it, but then after I realized that, I was like, this is a lot. Like I'm signing myself up for a lot of books and a lot of like intertwined plots, and also moolah, because these books ain't cheap. They're $25 Canadian each. So anyway, still such a beautiful cover though. Next we have, and I just realized these are out of order. Let me fix that. The Shadow and Bone trilogy. So I also haven't read this. I've had it on my shelf for so long, and like the first thing I heard about this was like, you need to read this before Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, and then people changed the tune. All of a sudden you didn't have to anymore, but I'm still going to because the Shadow and Bone show came out. My friend said that Shadow and Bone show like kind of combines Shadow and Bone and Six of Crows like elements together. So I just want to read both, so I have them both in my mind and then I can watch the show. But yeah, so I do want to read these soon. They sound like so much fun, and I don't know, some people don't like them, but other people, like I'm pretty sure Just Allie, is it her? It might be her, like just read them and she liked them, so I don't know. Obviously the next one I'm going to talk about is the Six of Crows duology. I don't need to say much. I've heard this is better than Shadow and Bone. I'm really excited to get to these eventually, but I want to read the other ones first. So next we have The Serpent and the Wings of Night. Now, you'll notice I only have the first one again. Haven't read her yet, but I wasn't going to purchase her yet because like I have too many books to read, right? And then she's usually, I don't know why I'm using pronouns. It's usually $25, $26, $27 Canadian for this, especially because it's like an indie release, like it's not from a publisher or anything. And I was just looking on Amazon, just doing my thing. She was on sale for like $15. So I was like, oh, I'm just gonna buy it. I'm just gonna buy it, and then if I end up reading it and loving it, we're gonna buy the next one. But yeah, so that's why she's here. But huge, like literally huge book. Like why are these books so big, font so small? All right, that brings us to the Cruel Prince trilogy. Now, I loved this trilogy. I did finish it and I enjoyed it so much. I'm pretty sure like my average star rating for this trilogy was like 4.5 stars or 4 stars, which is really good. It takes place in like modern times and like kind of gives you like that like YA high school feel while having fantasy, but there are some like dark things in it where I'm like, I don't know if a 13-year-old should be like reading this, like, but yeah, either way, really would recommend it and part of my collection. And with that, I also have the like Modern Fairy Tales trilogy by Holly Black. First of all, look at these covers. They are so cute. Like, come on. Yeah. So I just really want to read these and just see what they're about and get back into this world and like Holly's writing, because I just love her writing so much. It's so easy, and yeah, so, and they're just really cute and part of like my fantasy collection. And under here, I'm not gonna take it out, but it's How the King of Elfhame Learned to Hate Stories. It's actually a hardcover, but I didn't want to separate it from the rest because like, you know. But yeah, I haven't read that. I'm not really sure exactly what it's about. I know it's about Oh, I can't say who it's about because that would be a spoiler of like who the king. Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything. Next. So next we have the Caraval trilogy, and I actually haven't read this, but I bought it because I have been getting recommended the Once Upon a Broken Heart duology for a while, and I realized that this is a similar situation to another duology that I read where there's a trilogy before that you don't have to read, but I think like your experience would be a little bit more enhanced, and it's just nice to like go in with the world already established and not be like asking questions the whole time because you're confused. So yeah, I want to read this first, and it was on my September TBR, so we'll see if I end up reading it this month. I just put it on here because I was organizing my shelf and I wanted somewhere to put it. That brings us to the Poppy War and the Dragon Republic. So haven't read these. This is like a war kind of fantasy. I'm pretty sure this is fantasy. I feel like I wouldn't put it on the shelf if it wasn't. But I've heard really good things about it, but I've also heard that it's really, really dark and sad. So I'm not sure when or how I feel about getting into this, but we'll see. We'll see when I get there. But that's also part of the collection here. You'll notice that these are in like alphabetical order because that's how I do. So next I have the Shatter Me series, and there's only 2 of them here. But I have the rest of them out there because I'm actually in the middle of a Shatter Me reading vlog. So I'll like show you them when I go over there because I actually have another shelf out there to show you. But Shatter Me series. And yeah, I have the first 3 books, and then I have the first, like, I have like a duo novella where it has both of them for the first ones, and then this one, and then book 5. I didn't realize this was book 5. Oh my god, it has it on the spine. I'm so dumb. I bought this by accident instead of Restore Me, thinking it was the 4th book, but it literally has it on the spine. Like, I'm kind of dense sometimes, sorry. Anyway, moving on. So next we have Serpent and Dove, Blood and Honey and Gods and Monsters, and this was one of those situations where I bought these 2 from Book Outlet thinking that they were the first and second, and then I realized that this one was the first and I had to purchase this one. But what in the world? Look at how much more like yellow it is compared to them, but I'm pretty sure I bought this one new, like at the bookstore. That is so odd. That's so weird, and I've only had it for, but none of my other books look like this. Anyway, moving on. Haven't read them, have heard good things, want to read them. Stay tuned. Next we have Heartless by Marissa Mayer. This was actually a recent pickup. I was hearing a lot of things of this. Sarah Caroli read it, other people read it, and I was just like, you know what? I think I was at the store one day and I ended up picking this up and I wanted to read it. And I really loved Alice in Wonderland and like Queen of Hearts. I was her for Halloween once when I was a kid. So yeah, I'm just excited to kind of read from her point of view and just read a retelling about her because she's a queen. She deserves a little retelling. A little romance in her life, you know? I feel like I'm gonna get like canceled for saying that the Queen of Hearts, who like tortures people, like deserves romance, but I just mean like in the retelling. I'm just gonna shut up. I'm just gonna stop talking. Okay, next we have, and these are, oh my goodness, I don't even know, some people don't classify these as fantasy, but they are the Never After retellings of, okay, I read the Hooked one, and it's actually down there, like in my red shelf, so just pretend that it's here. But Scarred is for Lion King. Wretched is, oh my gosh, I don't even know. Is this like Dorothy? What is this about? Yeah, it's The Wizard of Oz. Okay, yeah. And then Twisted, I'm pretty sure is Aladdin. And then Crossed, oh, I think it's The Hunchback of Notre Dame, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, this is what I put them in fantasy because they're about like a bunch of like fairy tales and like, I don't know, just, I don't know, something about it just gave fantasy for me, but that might not be correct. I understand that they're dark romances. All right, next we're going to the most fun shelf ever, the Sarah J. Maas shelf. So I'm not going to take all these out because that would be a lot. But first over here we have the entire Throne of Glass series in paperback. Now I haven't read the series. I've read the Assassin's Blade and I'm in the middle of Throne of Glass right now. So I'm getting into it, guys, okay? But I also have these cutie little minis. And I have like one of them on display over here, the Throne of Glass one right here. But they are these tiny, like, cute little mini ones to like read on the go, and they are literally adorable. Like, the font is so small and they have these like cute edges, and yeah, I was just obsessed when I saw them, and I got all of them except for the Assassin's Blade before they like sold out in stores and just got discontinued everywhere. So I'm kind of sad about that, but I don't know, we'll see if by some miracle I come across it one day. Moving on, we have the ACOTAR series in paperback as well. I have read the entire ACOTAR series, and I did annotate the Court of Silver Flames book. I don't want to take it out because I realized that this freaking bookshelf is like stacked with this one, and it's all very tight because I had to like kind of shove in the last one. But we also have Crescent City in paperback because I bought it in paperback first, and then I ended up realizing that like they're gonna keep coming out in hardback, and I want to read them in hardback, but then I realized that I'm behind because I need to read Throne of Glass first. So either way, you know, I've noticed that I end up wanting the hardback for Sarah J Maas books because I want to buy alternative covers, which is what these are. These are the the Dusty Shop alternative covers for the ACOTAR series. So I have all the hardbacks, and I actually have the original cover still under, just because I didn't want to get the original dust covers damaged, and then I've put these ones over, and they are just so, I mean, canceled, but so gorgeous. I don't want to show the rest because the covers are spoiler, yeah, so I don't want to show the rest, but they are freaking gorgeous, and if you're interested, you can look at the Dusty Shop. They have a website and you can see what they are. They also have an Instagram. And then all the way over here, the last ones we have is the Throne of Glass little mini that I mentioned, and then we also have oh my goodness, we have the Crescent City first two books in hardback as well, because eventually I might want to get alternative covers for those, but the actual covers that they come with are so pretty already that I don't think I'm going to need to. Alright, we're down to the last little shelf that we have here, so I'll just go through them really quickly. First, we have the Dance of Thieves duology, but also the Kiss of Deception trilogy that comes before it. And these are by Mary E. Pearson. So I learned after I read the Dance of Thieves duology that there was a trilogy that came before it, so I decided to pick them up, and I haven't read them yet, but I'm hoping to read them soon because the story sounds really interesting. But this is literally one of my all-time favorite fantasy books or series or duologies or like just in general, so I would definitely recommend this to anybody. But yeah, I want to get like exclusive editions for these because they're just so pretty, but I just love these books so much. At the bottom here, you can't really see it, but I don't want to pull it out, is the Morrigan hardcover book. It's like an illustrated prequel to this entire world, I'm pretty sure, kind of explaining like Morrigan, which is like their fantasy, not god, but like, I don't know how to explain. Just kind of like where everything started, for instance. Anyway, moving on, we have, I'm not going to take them all out, but it's the Percy Jackson series. The covers line up to make a cute little picture, so I really wanted to display them, but I have them like sitting weird, so it's actually not doing the picture properly. But I really loved this first book, and I'm going to read the rest of the series. I read this for like, my boyfriend picked my reads, and I ended up really liking it because he read this when he was like 12, and he loved it. It's one of his favorite series, like fantasy series, so yeah, so I have the whole box set. I ended up just buying the box set. And yeah, so hopefully I get to those soon. Next, we have the Ember in the Ashes series. I have all 4 books. This was literally me accidentally buying the freaking 4th book on Book Outlet and not realizing, and then needing to get the rest. Okay, interestingly, again, oh, also I've heard this is like a very like kind of like dark fantasy. Like it's very like, not scary, but like there's a lot of stuff that goes on. Like it's not as light as ACOTAR is. Yeah, anyway. Moving on, we have The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings kind of like 3-book set. I know it was originally 1 book, but they released it as like 3 little 3-part books. And we also have the Silmarillion, which is like another book that he wrote, and then it was edited by his son or something. So yeah, do with that what you will. I've only read The Hobbit, but I do want to read the rest of, like, I want to read The Lord of the Rings for sure. Oh, I didn't even notice these little details on it. Wow, I didn't even notice that. I always knew they had like yellow, red, and green ring, but if you look closely, there's actually like more details on that. Wow, I'm blind. But yeah, these are like the founding fathers of fantasy, so I want to read them. Moving on, I know it's a little bit dark in this corner, but we have a whole, well, I'll start at the top here. We've got Court of the Vampire Queen by Katie Robert. I know this isn't really like a fantasy. It kind of is to me, just because there's vampires in it. It's kind of like Twilight. But yeah, so I put this on my fantasy shelf, but it's literally a reverse harem, like dark fantasy, so dark romance, so don't expect like a fantasy about vampires. And then we have King of Battle and Blood and Queen of Myth and Monsters. These are by Scarlett Sinclair, the same author of A Touch of Darkness, and these are like fantasy romances. So yeah, haven't read them, but I love Scarlett Sinclair's writing, so I picked them up and I have no doubts it's going to be amazing. So I'm actually really excited to read these. And then I have 5 V.E. Schwab books. So I have her Shades of Magic series here in the original covers, because the new covers that came out I hate, but these are just so cute. And then we also have Vicious and Vengeful, which I got in like a duo box set recently. So yeah, I haven't read any of these, but I have read Gallant by V.E. Schwab and I loved it. So I'm excited to read more of her books and just see, I don't know, not what she's about, because I know what she's about, but just see like what else she does, because I know that like she has very different like styles of writing for all of her books. Alright guys, that's all the fantasy books in here. I'm just gonna quickly bring you outside to this last shelf that has a bunch of like Greek mythology books on it, and then that'll be it for this video. Alright guys, here we are at the last little shelf. So this is my little like mythology shelf. I actually have a book on my TBR that also belongs in this shelf. I'm just gonna put it here for now. So first we have Susanna Clark Piranesi. I actually have no idea what this is about. Okay, I don't want to be roasted for like not knowing like Greek mythology, but liking reading retellings. I just really like reading about it, and I don't have time to like, I mean, if anyone can recommend some like good, like reliable, not retellings, but like readings to read the original stories, link it down below, because I really want to. I just don't have time to read like the entire like freaking thing, and I don't know. So I like reading retellings just so I can like learn a little bit about it, at least, even if it's not the most accurate. But first of all, look at this freaking cover. It has the gold foiling. It's so gorgeous. And yeah, my best friend picked this up and I'm pretty sure she read it and she loved it. So I wanted to read it. Next, we have The Daughters of Sparta, which I picked up recently. So this is more, it talks a lot about privilege, being a woman, womanhood. It's definitely more focused on feminism versus being like a Greek mythology, like fantasy romance. Then we have some Madeline Miller books. Oh, I also have The Song of Achilles, but it's just not here. It's in my like I already read pile. I probably should have grabbed those books, but literally I don't have many fantasy on there because most of my fantasy I try to keep together because most of them are series, but because these are standalones I kind of didn't. But yeah, I have The Song of Achilles, read it, loved it. Picked up Galatia, thinking it was gonna be a whole damn book, and it was literally this, so we're just like not even talk about it. I'm probably just gonna read it soon just to get it out of my system. But I also picked up Circe, and I'm excited to read this. This is also like more focused on Circe as a main female character and not as the love interest for a male character. So I'm excited to read about it in that aspect. Next we have Ariadne, I think is how you say it, by Jennifer Saint. I've heard really good things about this. This is another, like, it's more focused on, it has a love story, but it's also more about like the sisterly bond that's going on in this story between Ariadne and her younger sister. And she's kind of trying to decide if she is going to leave her sister behind to help her, like the love of her life, deal with something. So yeah, kind of just like tough decisions and about sisterhood and like what kind of sacrifices you make for your family or your loved ones. I think that's my understanding of it, but it's also just like shining light on like the forgotten woman of the Greek era, and I guess like stories that aren't talked about a lot. Like a lot of people talk about heroes and like, you know, focus on the hero as the main character, and never the kind of woman that were in their lives. Anyway, moving on, we have some Katie Robert books here. These are all, I'm pretty sure, Greek mythology retellings. This is about Persephone and Hades. This is another, this is about Aphrodite and, how do you say his name again? Demetriou, yeah. And then this one is about Zeus. And is it also like a Snow White retelling or something? Maybe not. I don't know. But Achilles, Patroclus, and Helen are in this. Oh, so this is like an Achilles retelling. Interesting. That is so cool. This is going to be so cool to read after reading the Song of Achilles. And just like see like a different perspective. But these are, like, keep in mind, these are dark romances. So they're not going to have the same vibe as like Madeline Miller. And then we have behind here is the entire like Touch of Darkness series. So I have literally like all of them. Whoop. All the way to the Game of Gods, which just recently came out, and I liked the thought of displaying them like this just because, I don't know, it's a little bit different, and I don't know, I just want to store it that way. But I love Hades and Persephone, and this is another like retelling. Not really, I don't think it's a dark romance, it's just like a fantasy romance. Alright, and then we have the like Lore Olympus graphic novels, and I have kind of like dabbled through the first one, but I haven't actually sat down and like enjoyed them and read them. So I think I want to do like a reading only graphic novels reading vlog soon, so I might pick up this one and the like Heartstopper ones. But yeah, I have like 3 more books to show you. Actually, no, that's a lie. I'm just gonna put it down a little bit more here. So I have Stone Blind here by Natalie Haynes. This is a Medusa retelling. I haven't read this, but I've had it for a bit on my shelf and I really want to get into it. So it was actually on my September TBR, so I'm gonna put it back there so I don't forget to read it. And then we have the Once Upon a Broken Heart and the Ballad of Never After duology. So the Caraval trilogy was on my August TBR, and then this I put on my September TBR, thinking I would read Caraval before then, and I haven't yet, so we might have to adjust. But this is technically on my September TBR, so I did plan to read it soon, but I haven't read them. It's still part of my fantasy collection, but I haven't read them yet. And the last little like set of books I want to show you is actually the Harry Potter series. Yeah, so it's the Harry Potter series, and I haven't read any of these. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm saying that out loud for like the 50th time. But I understand how like uncultured that makes me. So we're correcting that this fall, hopefully. That's actually why I've taken out the first one from the box set, because I want to read it hopefully in October. Actually, I'm probably gonna put it on my October TBR, but yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna bring you back. Oh, here's like the other Shatter Me books that I have. So yeah, these are also gonna go on my shelf eventually, but they're like in my current reads right now, so that's why they weren't there. I needed to just show you guys one last book that I have, and it is the Throne of Glass hardcover. But I did buy these overlays from the Dusty shop, and they are the most gorgeous additions to a book that I've ever seen. And it's just like a illustration of different scenes throughout the book. Let's give you a little sneaky peeky, but you can look on their website and their Instagram for more details. But yeah, I just really love these, and I wish they'd make them for the entire series because I feel like that would be so freaking cool. But yeah, so I have just the hardcover of this one. I don't know if I'm going to collect all of them, but I did get this one just because they shipped me the wrong overlays. So I wanted to be able to use them still, so I did buy the hardcover for this book. Anyway, I am in the middle of this book, so reading vlog coming soon. Stay tuned. Or it might already be up. I honestly have no idea. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed hearing me talk about all of the fantasy books that I own. I understand how like weird I seem for having this many fantasy books and not having like read a lot of them. But honestly, like, don't even talk about me buying like the entire series before reading the first. We're just not going to talk about that. And B, collecting books is such a comfort for me, and fantasy books in general have such pretty covers. And you know, I don't even need to justify this. There are people out there who understand what I mean, and I am going to read all these, and I think of it as, if the bookstores close down in Canada, I have books to read for like years. So really, I'm thinking ahead. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below if you have any of these books on your shelf, or like what your favorite fantasy book in your collection is, or if you have any like special edition books in your fantasy collection. That's one thing that I don't do, is get a crap ton of special editions of books, which I'm not judging anybody who does. I just personally don't have the money for that. And the space on my bookshelves. So the only like special things that I got is the overlays and alternative dust jackets, and like when I buy a hardcover copy of a book that I like. But really, I've only done that with Sarah J. Maas books. I don't know. But yeah. Anyway, thank you guys so much. I love you so much, and I will hopefully see you in the next one.